If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the Village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, and y'all shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener.
Sylosis Behind the Sun for DJ Ben's birthday. He says, Monolith... Oh, what's timestamp? 208. Monolith is an album that doesn't get talked about much when bringing up Sylosis. Have a listen.
209.
Well, we wanted to read the thing, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 209. 209 it is. Let's go. Let's check it out.
No, go ahead, read it now.
I did.
So that's all they said?
Yeah, that's all. That's what he said.
All right, reread it again.
Monolith is an album that doesn't get talked about much when bringing up Sylosis. Have a listen. This is Sylosis Behind the Sun from the Monolith 2012 album. Let's check it out.
Do it, dear listener, now.
When you're still calm
doesn't belong to the world. The
world belongs to him.
Yeah, there's a lot of people walking around in the world with that mentality.
Well, I think there's a positive way and a negative way you can do that.
Lemon can access frozen monies held in banks because they're not considered evil anymore. Yeah, that's a bureaucratic title there, being designated as terrorists. In years to come, everything will crumble within your palms.
It's all an illusion. How could you be so blind?
The skies will conspire. In years to come, the skies will conspire against you.
So say farewell to light, to the beacon that shines. It has left you behind.
I've seen the sun burn out beyond its years. In years to come, everyone will turn on you within an instant. You're on your own. How could you have been so blind? They will leave you behind.
They will leave it with you.
Yeah, I mean, how do I? I just think people have to understand, like, if you ever occupy a hero's position, you have to understand that there is always jealousy mixed in with that kind of admiration. And so it's everyone will turn on you, blah blah blah. I don't know if literally everybody will turn on you, but human beings, all of us, they're weak, man. So even if people that like wanted to support you and want to get your back, sometimes, there's a story in the Bible about, David, the guy who killed Goliath, that guy. Well, he has a son. I'm not going to go into the big story, but long story short, David and the few folks loyal to David had to like hightail it out of there and get out of Dodge. And so all the odds were stacked against them. And so David escapes with his life. And then the loyalists around him go back. Once they secure David, they go back out and find this dude and kill him. And David now is able to return back to his kingdom and his glory. And when he came back, he had this dude named Mephibosheth. Now, Mephibosheth was a disabled individual. Like, literally, he was disabled. He was not able to... He was basically paralyzed from the waist down.
He was the son of the previous king.
So David says, "Why don't you come with me, Mephibosheth?" And Mephibosheth said, "My lord the king is like God, like the angel of God to your servant, to me. I would have went with you, but I had nobody to carry me." In other words, he would have went with David, but due to his weakness, and now in this particular situation, his physical malady, he was not able to be next to David in his darkest moment. And so he said, "Why didn't you come with me?" And Mephibosheth said, "How was I going to do that? Who's somebody going to carry me?" And David basically said, "Yeah, I get it." And, they squashed whatever, beef they had, and they kept it moving. And that to me is like, on my good days, that's how I handle that shit. Like, your friends, or people in your life or your family, like, they wanted to help you, I'm sure. But, sometimes you just have to account for the fact that, they've got human weakness just like everybody else.
That story is kind of echoed when Jesus, before he goes to the cross, when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane. It says, "Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, 'Sit here while I go over there and pray.' And taking with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, 'My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me.' And going a little farther, he fell on his face and he prayed, saying, 'My Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will.' And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, 'So you couldn't watch with me even for 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.'"
Yeah, and so I've had Jesus say that to me a lot of times too.
And so if you can look at this and be like, yo, this dude is really paranoid right now. The skies will conspire against you. The sky will as well. So say farewell to the beacon that shines. It has left you behind. I've seen the sun burn out beyond its years. That's a crazy line right there. I've seen the sun burn out beyond its years. And that's one of the weird dichotomies of being one of those people, being one of the being a Christ figure, is that you will get burnt out because people, look, man, I don't look at it as people are users. I look at it as everybody's wounded, man. Everybody's hurt. And so sometimes you run into somebody that, whatever the vibe is, the way they communicate, whatever, or the way that they talk about God, that makes that pain go away or gives them hope that, hey, I don't know, maybe I can't. So once a person has an experience with a person, they're going to jump on that person. And then other people are going to jump on that person, and then you are eventually going to get burned out for sure. So that's one of the weird dichotomies. I always bring up Justin Bieber because he's the most approximate one, right? He got famous because somebody picked up his YouTube channel. Like, he's $500 million because he shot a video on YouTube when he was like 9 years old, right? And so it's like, whoa, man, this kid, he's got it made. And then the media, the same media apparatus that made him a millionaire is the same media apparatus that turned up and crucified him and made fun of him and mocked him, and he almost lost his life on multiple occasions and all the rest of it. And you see people shit talking this dude when it was like the same thing with Britney Spears and all these like the same media apparatus that tells us this is the ideal, this is what you want, blah blah blah, will also turn on those same people. Because now they found somebody else. So now they found somebody else to platform, so we don't need you anymore. So instead of just ignoring you and going to the next guy, no, we got to crucify you to sell, newspapers and all the rest of it. So, there were some phrases that I would hear all the time when I was in the middle of all that shit, and it was like, a lot of people, it was at the end of John chapter 2. All these people were coming to Jesus, and then he said, and it says in John chapter 2, but he would not entrust himself to any of them.
Yep.
Why? Because he knew what was in man.
Yep.
So when you're that type of person, like I'd always hear that people always come up to me, oh, Vin, blah, 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 you saved my life. And I'd be like, oh, that's cool, man. But I'd never entrust myself to them.
Yeah.
Not because I think they're horrible people or I'm better than them, but just to say, at the end of the day, they're human beings. And human beings have weaknesses. So you just have to understand that. And so, hell no, I'm not gonna put my trust in. There's always gonna be a wall between me and people, and I'm not sure if it's the best way to handle it. But I will say, I handle. Yeah, I don't know. When I feel crossed by a person, I don't spend a lot of time investing any emotional capital into it. It's just a lot easier for me to say, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's a really interesting thing.
I didn't realize this until this literal moment, but you've had a lot of those experiences where people will kind of exalt you and then crucify you after. I always had the experience where I was already on they already crucified me, and then they'd come around and they'd be like, well, I've hated you for a long time. And
well, you were on the girls' hate list because, for obvious reasons. I mean, just look at the camera.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I never knew that experience. The first time I had a similar experience to that was because I was in your vicinity, and so because you sung my praises, people accepted me in, and again, that was what was different about this channel, was that I feel like that this channel accepted me into the metal community, and it wasn't because of you. I feel like you were here and I was here, and they took us both in.
Yeah.
And that was what was of a unique situation.
For sure.
That was something I had never experienced before. So thank you to you guys for being there for us. This channel is such a weird thing.
It's the craziest, most gigantic mystery in my life.
It's
honestly,
really, 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 yeah.
It's so strange to me. It's so strange to me. And not only like doing God's work, but just the relationships, the friendships, how good people are to us.
Yeah.
The genuine care that people have, you know.
Yeah.
You posted that thing, and it you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're like, look at this. I got to go to my atheist friends to get good spiritual feedback.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
it was
posted.
true.
It was my Easter post. And I was just like honest, like basically, I'm also a shitty person, you know. And I posted it, you know, on my metal side channel, like for you guys. And then I also posted it on my other, you know, like basically where my friends and family that I've grown up with, which is mostly all Christians. So you'd think that it would have gotten a little bit of traction because it was, you know, honoring Christ in it. But really, the only person that like literally got one thumbs up, and it was by a person that's not even a Christian. They're like Vrindavan. It's just interesting. And then like I
That's right. That's the Hindu girl.
yeah. So then
Krishna.
I switch over and I check, you know, my Facebook with you guys, and like people came with some poetry and some different things. Like I was just really moved by. I was like, this is so insane. Like I don't like know all of you guys' stories personally, and like who has any sort of religious. It seemed to me that it's like, okay, so this is a predominantly atheist space, and yet people are still able to like recognize the beauty of what somebody is saying.
Completely
exaltation of
open-minded
Christ is so crazy.
and like you are like the epitome of what should not be embraced by the metal world.
Like, this doesn't explain you guys. This is not what I heard about atheists.
Yeah. Like metal elitists, like that should have been the posture. But
Yeah.
Instead, the metal community comes and embraces you like a church would. It's insane.
Or like a church should. Yeah.
It's insane.
Very weird.
You'll have. It's strange.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's weird.
And like I said, like
It's not
posted,
something. It's not something that I would have ever anticipated for sure. I mean, there were people that were like, "Stop talking about God," blah blah blah. blah. I was
Yeah.
like, "Man, get out of here,
Yeah,
bro."
yeah, but they didn't stick around. We had a lot of people that have, you know, stuck around and they're
Yeah,
like,
people were like, "That's their thing. Let them do it."
people will say like, look, I don't believe like you guys believe, but you're so cool. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
you don't have to believe everything that we believe to stick around or whatever. But yeah, it's a cool environment. I love being with you guys, and I don't know.
I've seen the
It's been
sun.
interesting. Also,
burn-
wait, just side note, if I've gotten friend requests on my Facebook. If you want to friend request me, just send me a message and then tell me who you are, because I'm not accepting friend requests from people I don't even really know. And I know there's a lot of people that watch our channel, but you may know me, but I don't know you. So just explain yourself, because I'm not going to just take random friend requests. But I'm interested in the people who are, you know, who've been around and, you know, have actually something legitimate there.
What do you give the song?
I liked this one a lot, and I liked where our conversation sort of went. This is a good 9.4 for me.
You should read Marcus Aurelius's book. Which book? Which one? I'm a fan of Aurelius. I'm not gonna lie to you. Mm-hmm. I went through this little Stoic thing for like 2 weeks,
So did I.
and then I thought to myself, I'm such an extreme personality that Sori is probably not gonna like it. Because I was like, yeah, I could really, really get into this, but the cost there's a cost to this peace that Stoicism gives you, which is that you cannot really enjoy the things you enjoy as much if you follow those principles. And that's I'm not mature enough yet to where that kind of sacrifice seems to be worth it at this point. So that's where I am with Stoicism.
I got into it too for probably about a month, I would say. But then it was really cool at first, because I think that I felt like I was always, there's a Bible verse that says like, you know, like in your anger don't sin, or the fool gives full vent to his wrath. And those like, I felt like that's the situation I kept finding myself in. Like every time I got frustrated, it was almost like just full vent. And everybody's full vent is going to look differently. Like I took a barbecue sauce out of the fridge, and there was a big container of ice water in front of it that was like screwed shut. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to be able to get that out of there. No problem. With one hand, because I didn't want to set Vinny's dinner down. I just, I was trying to cut some corners. I pulled the barbecue sauce, and this entire thing fell out, and like my brain froze, and I didn't move my foot, and it like literally smashed one singular toe, and it immediately started bruising, and I felt so much anger and rage that I wanted to start cursing, like even just like, but I was like, I thought in that moment, I'm like, okay, full vent to me right now is to say a couple of curse words, whether out loud or in my head, and I'm like, okay, I'm just not gonna go full vent. And so I didn't say the curse words. I still felt very frustrated, but like I felt like I gained some self-control in doing that. So I did think like the Stoicism stuff is helpful where it lined up with the Bible verses that I knew, but then there were other parts where I felt like, yeah, that's going to impede me on that. It's going to impede me on that. So like I felt like it was helpful for like a certain space, but overall, like I don't think it's a philosophy I want to adopt for my entire life. But anyway, yeah, 9.4, I think, or did I give it a 9.6? I'm gonna go with a 9.5.
All right, 9.3.
All right, you guys, we're gonna
got
be right
more
back.
heavy metal craziness for you losers.
Opeth, Vinny's favorite band.
I don't know if you've heard of this
time.
band. There's a band called Opeth. Timestamp. We shall see you, beautiful people,
See,
on the other
Franco,
side
you
of the
get
break.
it.
We're at 1440p, dear listener. 1440p.
We'll see you at the end of the break.
See you on the commercial side, bitches.